times that he does your lessons. Starring his students, who may or may not be watching these videos in their pajamas. And our returning champion, Kaya, a well-known mathematician in the cat community.
Help out. There we go. Let's get the pencil.
Get working, Lydia.
Okay, keep working, Kaya. Should we multiply by x plus 3? Yes, we should. Everyone loves math. It is wonderful, isn't it? Oh, yes, it is, it is, it is. It's very good. Very good. Math makes us smarter. Okay. X minus 4. Hey, helping out. Good job. Plus 5x plus 15. Over 2 times x minus 3.
Another day and week of e-learning, and so Mingo's right here with me, and so he's glad to join us and listen to a little math and get a little smarter. So Kaya's not getting smarter without him, and so we don't want other students to get smarter without you, and so make sure you fill in the attendance form. Some of you are asking, Mr. Nyson, you changed the dates. I can't go back and take attendance for last week. It's this week, and you're in school this week. That means you take attendance for this week. You don't take attendance for last week. Well, you do, but you take it last week. And so make sure you get that done. And so our agenda today for algebra, if we scroll down here, you're going to see that we have the notes. We're going to talk about polynomial long division. The video is going to get linked up once we get it done. And the assignment, page 276, 3 to 33 multiples of 3, just 11 problems. We have new warm-ups this week. None as tough as that multiplying and dividing rational numbers. That was pretty tough. And so hang in there. We tried to avoid anything too difficult on that. And there's just 3 of them this week. You can do them all today. You can do 1 a day. Doesn't matter. Just get those done. And then we have this week, our Logic Week 30 is going to be a new math contest, the Noetic Online Math Contest. It's similar questions to last week's Logic, except this is completed all online, and you're not going to know how you do for a couple weeks. But I'm going to give you extra credit, even just for participating in it. And so you want to take it seriously, and we paid money for you to do this, and so you need to do it. And so under here, you can click on this label, and there's a practice one. This is a 2nd grade contest. Questions are very easy. You don't really need to do the whole thing. This is just to kind of show you what it's going to be like. Notice we're not typing in labels. If it says round to the nearest 10th or if it says round to the nearest whole number, you need to do that or it will be counted wrong. So make sure reading counts and you type these in. And on this contest, just so you could look at it, you click submit and it times you. And it will grade it. My score was a 5, and the correct answers are in red. And so you look at that, how many did I get right? And so I just got 1, and then they gave me 5 points for it. And so just so you could get used to it. The real contest is going to be, you click on the link, it will say right here, username and password, which you have neither of those yet. But I will be sending you very soon your username and password. And then you can take this contest anytime you want. And so just set 50 minutes aside and say, I'm going to take this. And then do it. And then once you got that done, I will know that you've taken it. And it will let me know. But I won't know your score or the questions or anything until a couple weeks from now. And so, but you have to have this done before Thursday night. You can't be waiting around. Oh, I never did it. And so just once you get username and password, we'll get that done. And so make sure. And so we got warm-ups, we got logic problems this week, but we're going to talk about long division. And so on long division, this is notes number 115. And so notes number 115, and we are going to, nothing sounds more fun than polynomial long division. And so some of you said, Mr. Nyson, you should give us the notes pre-numbered. Well, we got paper copies at school if you're in need of them, and some of those, they don't have the numbers on them. So you just have to listen and get that done. So notes 115. So the question is, we're going to start with like the last question on your homework. Why would we ever want to learn this? And the thing is, if I had this cubic equation, which we have not solved yet, and just by looking at it, you said that -1 was an answer. Well, how do you know? Well, you could kind of tell. This would be -1, and this would be +2 because a negative squared is a positive, and this would be +5 and -6. So -1 plus 2. Here, let's write this out. See, Mingo? And so -1 plus 2 plus 5 minus 6 really does equal 0. So let's say somebody just looks at that and goes, well, -1's an answer. And how do you know? And you're like, oh, because it's obvious. And so -1 is an answer. But if it's a cubic equation, there are 3 answers. Now, they might not all be integers. They are in this problem. Or they might not all be rational. They might not even all be real. But if we know -1's a solution, we can find the other 2 by using polynomial long division. And so we're going to put me over here, and we're going to divide this thing. And so if -1's a solution, that means that x plus 1 times something I could distribute, and it would equal this. Well, we want to figure out what the something is. And so the way we figure that out is by using polynomial long division. So we're going to put the x plus 1 right here. And we're going to put the x cubed plus 2x squared minus 5x minus 6 right here. Now, you can't be doing a big 7 on polynomial long division. And so I learned a long time ago, when people got a little shaky with long division, they get a little more shaky with polynomial long division. But in 6th grade, we tried to work on regular old long division to make sure we can do this. And so in long division, you go, what times x gives me x cubed? What do you multiply by x to get x cubed? And what would that be? Jacob, what is it? I can't hear you. A little louder. Oh, x squared. Great job. So this would be an x squared. Well, what you do is you take the x squared times all of this. What is x squared times x plus 1? Well, it is x cubed plus x squared. When we do long division, we draw a line, and then we subtract. 2 minus 1 is 1. And x cubed minus x cubed is 0. Now, here we go again. Here we go again. There's a song. Not coming to me right now. What times x gives me, now we're down here, sorry, x squared. What times x gives me x squared? Elizabeth, what times x gives me x squared? What is that? A little louder. You're here off a long ways away. Oh, that'd be an x. X times x is x squared, and it'd be a plus x. So we take x times x would be x squared, and x times 1, which would be x. But guess what I forgot to do? I forgot to bring down the negative 5x. So you subtract here, and then before you get all excited, multiply this by x, which should give you x squared plus 1 right here. You bring this down. Remember how we'd bring down the next one? And that'd be a minus 5x. We'll remember that next time. And so then we subtract these. Now, the hardest problem on your homework is trying to subtract. What is negative 5 minus positive 1? Is it going to be 4? Is it going to be negative 4? Is it going to be 6? Or is it going to be negative 6? Lauren, which one is it going to be? What is negative 5 minus 1? 4? Negative 4? 6? Oh, negative 6, because negative 5 minus 1 is negative 6. And there should be an x there. And so Preston just checking to see if you were going to catch that mistake. Ho, ho, ho. And so negative 5x minus 1 be negative 6x. And x squared minus x squared 0. And then we bring down the negative 6. Don't forget that. And so bring the minus 6 down right there. And then we ask ourselves, Self, what do we multiply by x to get negative 6x? And the answer would be, Rosie, negative 6. And negative 6 times x would be negative 6x. And then negative 6 times... Whoa! Hey, Mingo's back. He comes running out of nowhere. Man, and so he's right here. Hey, Mingo. And so there he is. He comes flying up the steps and he goes, I'm back. And so we're ready to go. And so you get this, and when you subtract all this, you get a remainder of 0. My hero. And so your answer is right here, x squared plus x minus 6. So this would be x squared plus x minus 6. And we are factoring cubics by using polynomial long division. But the thing is, on the very last problem on your homework problem 33, it says, okay, one answer is x plus 1. What's the other two answers? Well, now I could factor this. What two numbers multiply together to give you negative 6 that add together to give you negative 1? Ryan, what would it be? 5 and 1? No, they're the 4 apart. We want them to be 1 apart. Ryan? Your brother's playing Batman on the piano. It's too loud. You can't hear me? And so this would be, oh yeah, Ryan, good job. X plus 3 times x minus 2. And so I factored a cubic. It's x plus 1 times x plus 3 times x minus 2. And if I wanted to find all three answers, well, this would give me negative 1, this would give me negative 3, and this would give me positive 2. Now, you do not have to do this for every single problem solving all this, but that's what problem 33, and that's why we're learning all this, so we can do all that, okay? And so, got that one done? We're going to be ready for the next example. Are you ready? Okay, here we go. Y squared plus 3y minus 7 divided by y minus 2. Now, we used to try to factor the top. And we would say that one of them would factor into a y minus 2, and the y minus 2's would cancel. Now, on your warm-ups on Khan Academy, that's going to happen, where you factor the top and just cancel one of them, and that's all you have to do. But that's not going to happen here. And so, the top number, the numerator, that's what goes in the dividend. So that becomes a y squared plus 3y minus 7. And the divisor is the denominator. And that's a y minus 2. And I'm double checking, making sure that I copied all these negative signs right. And so the first thing in long division is what times y gives you y squared. And what would that be? Abby, what times y gives you y squared? Oh, that'd be a y. So we put a y right there. So y, and then you're going to multiply that times all of this. And so y times y minus 2 would be y squared minus 2y. And then we're going to subtract. This is where you're going to mess up. What is 3 minus negative 2? Is it 5? Is it negative 5? Is it 1? Or is it negative 1? What would it be? Ilya, 3 minus negative 2. 5. Very good, very good. Promise, Ilya, warm-ups this week. Not going to take longer than the homework. And so this is going to be a 5y. And then you bring down the minus 7, and you get a negative 7. Now, what times y is going to give you 5y? What is that? Jack? Don't take too long to answer. What is that, Jack? Oh, 5. So we're going to put a plus 5 right here. And then that's going to become, I'm going to take 5 times the y and get 5y. And then I'm going to get 5 times the negative 2 and get negative 10. Then we're going to subtract these. Well, negative 7, take away negative 10 is a 3. Well, that's our remainder. We used to write in, elementary school, big R. And then it was called stock and field. It's not big R anymore. But big R3. But now, What did the teacher do in elementary school after you wrote big R3? The teacher said, write the remainder over the divisor. And so we're going to put a plus sign here. Plus the remainder. And you put the remainder over the divisor. And so this thing doesn't factor. And if we were going to try to do long division, we know it doesn't factor. That's why it has a remainder. And so the answer is y plus 5 plus 3 over y minus 2. Okay? And then you're going to have some that look like that. And you only have 11 problems. Now, we're going to do this next one. N cubed plus 1 goes on the inside. And n plus 1 goes on the outside. But don't write this because we're going to erase a little. We already wrote something wrong. So don't get all excited. When you do a regular long division problem, if you did something cubed, that would be like the thousands place. 10 cubed would be 1,000. And you'd have the thousands place. The ones place is not next to the thousands place. There are spaces in between. And so when you do long division, if I just started in, do not write this down. If I said n squared times n is n cubed, and then I took n squared times 1, I would get n squared. Well, notice this doesn't line up very good because I want n cubes here, and I want n squareds here, and this guy doesn't have an n squared. And then I want n, it's not lined up. There's no spaces. There's no place value. And so we don't want any of that. So beep, 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 beep. We're backing up. There we go. And so, whoa, I don't want to go that far back. I got to go forward. Let's drive a little. Bring them back. Bring them back. Bring this back. There we go. Now, we're going to put in spaces. Plus no n squareds. Plus 0 n's. And you just go down the line, going down by 1 degree of the exponent. Plus 1. And then on the outside, we put in n plus 1. Now, you could put spaces in your divisor, too. But nothing that tough yet. And so then we just start. What times n gives me n cubed? And what would that be? What? Logan? What's that? N squared. Good job. And so n squared times n plus 1 is n cubed plus 1n squared. Now the mistakes people are going to make, and where you want to see your work, I want to see the subtraction, Mac. I want to see how you subtract. None of this, just right answer. And so 0 minus 1 is negative 1. And then I'm going to bring down just one term at a time. One term at a time. We just bring them down one term at a time. It looks like on, but that's really 0n. And then we say, what times n gives me negative 1n squared? And what would that be, Elijah? What times n gives me negative 1n squared? That'd be negative 1n. So negative 1n times n is negative 1n squared. And then negative 1n times 1 is negative 1. Preston's checking to see if I made any subtraction mistakes yet. Don't think so yet. Hopefully not. But what is 0 minus negative 1? What would that be, Judah? 0 minus negative 1. Is that 1 or negative 1? 1. Great job, Judah. That'd be a 1. And then we bring down the plus 1. And then we say, what times n plus 1 gives me n plus 1? Well, that'd be a plus 1. And 1 times this would give me n plus 1. And I would have no remainder. And so this would be n squared minus 1n plus 1. Okay? All good? This is also, remember when we learned how to factor a sum of two cubes? We said it factored into the sum times a squared minus ab plus b squared. And you asked, why? And I said, just memorize it. That's not good teaching. Just memorize it. Because we had to wait till we understood polynomial long division to understand how to factor the sum of cubes. And this n squared minus n plus 1 doesn't factor anymore. You could try to factor it. It ain't going to happen. Well, it does, but it's irrational and imaginary, or just imagine the answer. And so don't worry about that. And so, well, it's actually just irrational. And then let's go to example 4. Everybody ready for example 4? Are we ready? Be careful of spaces. And is it in order? So if it starts with an x cubed, you start with the x cubed. Then is there an x squared behind it? Yep, there is. Yepers. Then is there an x term behind it? Yep. Then do we have the minus 15? And then if we had 2x squared plus 1, we'd have to put a space in that. But there is one problem tonight on your homework, that you have a trinomial that you're going to divide by. But that just means you'll write 3 and bring 1 down, and you'll have 2, and then you'll get it. You'll be fine. So right here we go. This one right here. Ethan, what times 2x gives me 4x cubed? Ethan, what times 2x gives you 4x cubed? What's that? Yeah, yes, good job. That'd be 2x squared. And so we're going to put a 2x squared right there. And so 2x squared times 2x would be 4x cubed. And then this would be plus 2x squared. I'm going to try to pay attention so I don't make any mistakes. Right here is negative 12 minus 2, 10, negative 10, 14, or negative 14. Mason, which one is it? 14, negative 14, 10, or negative 10? Mason? 14? Ah! Negative 10, negative 10. Oh, you're just kidding. You just wanted to see if we still did the tie flip. And so negative 10, great job. No, it's negative 14. Ha, Preston, thought you had me, didn't you? Mason was right all along. So negative 12 minus 2 is negative 14. And then we bring down the negative 37x. Whew, I almost messed that one up. And then here we go on the next go round. What times 2x gives me negative 14x squared? And that's going to be a negative 7x. So negative 7x times that would be negative 14x squared. And then negative 7 times 1 is this. Now, when I subtract these, oh no, everybody's watching. Is Mr. Nice going to do this correctly? Negative 37 minus 7. Negative 37 minus negative 7. Boom slash. It's not 44. It's not negative 44. It is negative 30. Negative 37 minus negative 7 is negative 30. So that's going to be negative 30x. And then we bring down negative 15. And then we say, what times 2x plus 1 is going to give me negative 30x minus 15? So you just say, what times 2x gives me negative 30x, and that'd be minus 15. And if we multiply that, that'd give me negative 30x minus 15. And you subtract those, and you get a big old remainder of 0. Well, then this is your answer. Now, when you get to problem 33 on your homework, you'll be asked to factor that. Does 2x squared minus 7x minus 15 factor? Well, this would be 2x and x, and this would be minus 5, and this would be plus 3. And I think that does foil into that. And so you had your 2x plus 1 out front, and the reason we're learning this is so you could find the 3 solutions to this. If you just had the top, the 3 solutions are negative 1/2, negative 3/2, and then 5. But the only one you have to factor further is problem number 33. The rest you're just going to do. Okay? So if we look at this on your homework tonight, we're going to kind of give you hints on everything. You're doing the multiples of 3 on the one assignment last week. I think I started you on problem 4 instead of problem 3, but there's problem 3. Notice how it's all in order. And so you are going to, on your own paper, write n squared. What is this? Let me find it here. Where'd we go? N squared minus 3n minus 54. 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 And then the outside you got n minus 9. Well, n times n is n squared, so I'd give you n squared minus 9n. The mistake is going to occur in subtraction. If you can make it through that, you got it. And then you subtract those, you get 6n minus 54. Then you ask yourself, what times n gives me 6n? Well, that'd be a plus 6. And then you get 6n minus 54. Now some of you are like, why in the world did we do long division when I knew that this factored into n minus 9 times n plus 6? Because we're learning polynomial long division, and now you only have 10 more problems to do. And yes, it's good to connect all the learning. And so, but that's what we're doing, problem 3. And then you set up the next ones. They're not all going to be like that. Some are going to have remainders. And so I want to give you a little heads up on some of these. I'll put us down here. Woo, there we go. And so problem 3 is straightforward. Problem 6 is straightforward. Problem 9, this is out of order. Out of order. It's like going to a place and wanting to use the pop machine and they say it's out of order. You can't, too much contamination, hands, it's out of order. And so when it's time to change, you've got to rearrange. Put this 4 on the end and then do long division. Problem number 12. You got to make a little space in there for 0y. Problem 15. This is out of order and you got to make spaces. 15 is in order. It's just big and ugly. 21 is in order and it's just big and ugly. 24, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. That one's in order. Problem 27, we need some spaces. We got a z to the 4th. You need a z cubed, z squared, z, and then put the 16. And then 30, x cubed, x squared, x, no x. But what's 30 tougher? You got to divide by a trinomial. Ooh, that's spooky stuff. And so you give it a shot, and then we got problem 33, which is kind of like the first problem you divide, but then you got to factor it to give me all 3 answers. Okay? So let me know and like the videos. We have last Friday's video, 23 likes in pre-algebra, only 14 in algebra, and only 3 in geometry. Who are these people? They don't like the videos. But hopefully you do. So we like bringing them to you. We miss all of you. Email your homework. Get stuff done. I'll get you those usernames and passwords for this week's logic problems. Set 50 minutes aside and do that, and we'll give you extra credit coming your way. Okay? Hey, have a great day, everybody. And let me know and email me. Okay?